In a matter of days, 17 federal inspectors general were fired. Independent watchdogs were purged, and an entire agency, USAID, faced sudden dismemberment. For nearly half a century, the American presidency operated within a rigid set of boundaries. After the scandal that forced Richard Nixon out of office, Washington rebuilt its ethical firewalls. But that rebuilt system had a fatal vulnerability. It relied heavily on the honor system. The separation between the Oval Office and independent agencies only existed if the sitting president chose to respect it. Donald Trump ignored those invisible boundaries. He viewed the government through a lens of absolute control, discarding constraints his predecessors treated as settled law. The systematic dismantling of those firewalls activated a multi-generational family playbook built explicitly on defying rules. The origins of that playbook date back to 1885 in the Kingdom of Bavaria. At just 16 years old, Frederick Trump illegally fled his home country for America to evade his mandatory military service. His son, Fred Trump, scaled that ethos. He constructed a massive New York real estate empire by capturing the power of the federal government. By taking advantage of the National Housing Act and New Deal economic programs, Fred secured millions in government subsidies to build thousands of middle-class homes. Uncle Sam took on the financial risk, and Fred reaped the profits. That move established the first critical lesson. The government is an exploitable resource designed to be leveraged for personal empire building and absolute family advantage. When Donald Trump took control of the family business, he aggressively expanded into the Atlantic City casino market. Within a few years, unable to meet crushing interest payments, his casino empire collapsed into bankruptcy, completely failing. To keep Donald's creditors at bay, Fred Trump dispatched a lawyer to the Trump castle. The lawyer purchased $3.5 million worth of casino chips and walked out, an illegal, unapproved loan designed to bypass financial regulations. Despite multiple casino failures, Donald Trump pivoted to reality television. Through his role on The Apprentice, he aggressively marketed his personal brand, constructing a broadcast narrative of absolute business success. That move established the second critical lesson. With relentless self-promotion and absolute personal loyalty, objective failure can be entirely rewritten. When Trump brought that philosophy to the White House, it aligned with a fringe legal doctrine known as the unitary executive theory. This doctrine argues the Constitution grants the president absolute authority over the executive branch. He implemented this model by staffing the Department of Justice with loyalists, treating the agency as a personal law firm. He cleared the ranks of independent watchdogs, treating federal inspectors like the auditors his father once worked to bypass. Removing these watchdogs entirely eliminated the primary check on waste, fraud, and corruption within his rapidly expanding administration. When legal constraints stalled his agenda, he treated federal court orders like inconvenient zoning regulations. The administration pushed forward with its deportation plans, treating the judiciary as just another hurdle to be cleared. The executive branch effectively became an extension of the Trump organization. By capturing state resources while neutralizing the independent authorities meant to limit his power, he successfully transitioned his family's private sector tactics and demand for absolute loyalty directly to the highest office in the country. 50 years ago, Richard Nixon argued that if the president does something, that means it is not illegal. He was forced to resign in disgrace for testing that claim. Trump picked up that exact same Nixonian theory. By flooding the zone with legal challenges, demanding absolute loyalty, and refusing to concede, he applied maximum pressure to the system. And unlike Nixon, he won the argument. After a prolonged campaign to overwhelm the courts, he secured a landmark legal victory that validated his approach. The Supreme Court ruled that a president possesses sweeping immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts. With a single decision, the post-Watergate era of constrained executive power officially ended. The American Constitution relied heavily on a fragile honor system. By treating unwritten rules as weaknesses to be exploited, a single family proved that if an executive relentlessly attacks the system will eventually break.